All right, everybody. So, like I said, what I'd like to do first is run through my entire watch list today. It is Fed Day, as we just discussed. So, with that announcement coming out at 2 p.m., I just want to make sure that we aren't missing any potential setups going into the news. And I want to explain to you why, when we have a lot of high impact news on the table, it's sometimes tough to build a really big watch list because a lot of pairs are really consolidating or moving sideways as they are waiting for that news event to come out. So again, if we look at Forex Factory just for a quick second here, CAD has CPI news, high impact news here coming out at 8:30, but the main news comes out at 2 p.m. today. The U.S. crude oil inventory news is not that impactful in my opinion. Really what the market is looking at today is this FOMC statement. They're basically going to decide if they're going to announce, really what we're waiting to see, I should say, is are they going to announce that they're going to start tapering? Or are they going to say maybe they're thinking about tapering? How are they going to word it? Because that's how the market is going to react based on the way that Jerome Powell issues his statement about potentially cutting back the stimulus. Because like we just saw in that other article, most developed nations are now starting to cut back on their stimulus, their monetary policy, their quantitative easing, so to speak, right? So as other major developed nations are starting to do that, you'd hope that the US would follow suit. So let's go through the watch list today, and I'll show you where some of these pairs are sitting. CHF-JPY and CAD-JPY both did not make my watch list today. If you take a look, CHF-JPY, the market sentiment started the day in the buy zone and dropped into the sell zone as price action fell towards the 800 EMA down here. That's kind of telling me this is coming into consolidation between the 250 EMAs and the 800 EMA. It'll trade in between these EMAs, in my opinion, the rest of the day. And the reason I feel that way is because of this swapping market sentiment line. You don't know who's in full control here, buyers or sellers. That's what this yellow line on the TDI is telling us. Same thing here on CAD-JPY, sell zone into buy zone. So indecisive, as this moves lower, it yanked that market sentiment back into the sell zone, but I still don't know if you would love to short this going into the news today because it's not a perfect trend. It's not clearly screaming at you that the buyers or sellers are in control. Euro AUD actually is close to maxing out ADR here. Now, this is a swapping market sentiment line. It's now spent more of the day in the sell zone than the buy zone, so it makes sense that it's falling. But again, here, as this gets close to ADR, it wouldn't surprise me if this bounces back up towards the 800 and towards these other EMAs just because of that swapping market sentiment. There's still some buyers in control here, is really what this is telling us. So this didn't make the list. You guys know, when I build the watch list, I'm really not looking for swapping market sentiment lines. I want to stay in that perfect trend. So here's EuroCAD. Again, buy zone into sell zone. And this, notice price action trading between the Asia high, I'm just going to extend the line here, and the Asia low set by these pins, right? It's really trading in a range here. And you're going to see that on a couple of different pairs. So EuroCAD, just a very choppy read today with the EMAs coming against each other too. Euro GBP, same thing here, swapping market sentiment line. If I blow this up, you'll see buy zone into sell zone. EMAs are not in a clear trend. So I'm still going to keep going through these pairs to just see if there's something that screams to me that has a cleaner trend than what we've seen so far. Euro NZD is out of the Asian range. With that market sentiment line down in the sell zone here, that tells me, since it's down in the sell zone more than it's been in the buy zone, tells me that it more likely than not moves lower. But doesn't this look just like one of the setups we just saw, trading towards the 800 EMA with the 50 and 200 above it with a swapping market sentiment line? So we have multiple setups that are all looking the same here, that they're coming into some type of consolidation, some type of reset, we like to call it. So that didn't make the list. Now, Euro USD is flagged right here, only because I still have to go back to Monday's trade back here, and I still have to save my markup. I've just been slacking on that. So I have it marked so I don't forget. But if we just erase these lines for a quick second, I'm going to put them back because I need them for my markup. But if you look at Euro USD today, just look at it from the changeover of day. Market sentiment line has swapped multiple times. Buy zone, sell zone, and now back into the buy zone. To me, this looks like it's trading in a range. It really does look sideways. It barely broke the Asian range to the upside, barely broke it to the downside, and now is moving back towards the high of day. Very much sideways. And it looks sideways even here yesterday at the end of the day as well. Like it's really just stuck in this 20 pip range or so between 121.30 and 121.15, maybe 121.35, you know? So Euro USD just didn't fit the bill today as something that I would like to trade. Even though I traded it on Monday, that doesn't mean I'm going to keep trading it the rest of the week because since Monday, it's been very much so sideways. Remember Monday's trade, we're going to go over this in a minute here. Monday's trade was a D2 reversal. So to see it going sideways for 2 days and not continuing in trend actually kind of makes sense considering we had the D2 set in Friday into Monday. You follow me on that? So that's why Euro USD was not on the list this morning. Euro JPY, we had a trade here yesterday, a long trade that didn't end up popping really towards that high a day like I thought it would. GA was the winning trade we took yesterday, but we were watching this and analyzing it live on the stream because we had guys in the group chat in this trade. And I find that very often when you trade towards the 50 EMA, that blue line here, from underneath it like this, very often it doesn't make it all the way to high a day. It always tries to, but it seems to fall short. It's very rare that you'll trade from the bottom here and break out for a new high of day. It's just very, very rare, especially if you have some divergence against you like this setup did. So I didn't love this. This similar setup was actually happening on GBP AUD, and that was where I had actually lost money earlier in the day. So I just stayed focused on GA rather than this one on EJ. I liked the 1 minute structure on GBP AUD better as well, and we're going to get into that in a second. So today on Euro JPY, nothing. You can see breaks the Asian range to the upside, but again, look at that market sentiment line. Buy zone into sell zone into buy zone, back into the sell zone. So it's very choppy. Market sentiment is not clear. Now, GBP AUD has actually presented another entry signal today. I didn't take it as a trade because I don't like this market sentiment line in the sell zone as much as it is. I'd like to only buy it when the market sentiment line is in the buy zone. And as you can see, it's actually been in the sell zone more than it's been in the buy zone today. But I'm still marking this up and looking to trade it right back up towards the same zone it showed resistance to yesterday, twice, and Monday, and Friday. So this blue box on top here is a very sensitive zone. Now, I was trading it off the Monday's low set back here. That's what this box is. That's where I traded it off for my really big winning trade yesterday. We'll go over that in a second. Let's finish running through the watch list. So we'll keep an eye on this today. I don't think it's going to pop towards high a day. That's why I didn't take the trade. The reason for that, again, is because the market sentiment line is in the sell zone more than it's in the buy zone today. GBP CAD broke out to the upside like a few of the GBP pairs did, but look at the market sentiment line. Buy zone into sell zone, back into buy zone. It actually moves up here while the market sentiment line is still in the sell zone. So it's a tough read. And now so far today, it hasn't even come back to the 21 yet to give us any type of idea, because the three strategies that I trade, the A1, the D1, and the D2, you're just not trading off the 8 EMA for most situations. So here we haven't had a signal, and really with that swapping TDI, you're going to look for something better still. GBP USD moved up towards the 800. Again, another pair trading counter trend towards the 800 EMA, coming towards a significant level of resistance, coming into some type of maybe consolidation going into the 2 o'clock news today. So look at the market sentiment line move from sell zone into buy zone, and it actually taps overbought in that big push up right at the start of the London session. So here, just a tough read. I wouldn't know how to read it from the 800 here with a swapping TDI. Normally, this is where it starts to slow down, in my opinion. GJ also made a move here that we can talk about using the 1 minute, just like GA. It's a D1 idea off the 50 EMA. Not trading high enough yet to go to high a day, but it's still looking like it could move up. We'll see what it does. I'm not in this trade. I don't think anybody in our group chat is in this trade. Here, look at market sentiment. It's in the sell zone more of the day than it's been in the buy zone. It's about 50-50. So here, again, just not a clean trend. And this is normally what you find on Fed day, on news days. Here is GBP NZD. Notice we're still in the Asian range. It has not broken out of the Asia high or Asia low. So that shows that there is some chop, right? That it could be stuck in the Asian range already. This is an NZD pair. It could have made its move already. And also look at the swapping market sentiment line. So that tells us as well that this is a choppy pair right now. It's very tough to read. Even with a perfect market sentiment line, when you're trading in the Asian range like this, you really are trading from high to low. You don't know which way it's going to break out. So I never really liked trading in the Asian range. And that's why this didn't make my watch list. Now, USD CHF, swapping market sentiment as well. So we haven't found one perfect market sentiment line today, which really does impact the way that I trade. If I can't find a clear trend, something's going on. Now, the something I know, and I'm sharing with you, is the Fed meeting today. But if you're new and you're unaware of how news plays into the market, you wouldn't know what's going on. But it's simple to find. Just use Forex Factory. Watch out for the red folders. That's the high impact events. So here, swapping market sentiment, traded back up towards the 800 EMA. Again, coming into reset, coming into that support level, just like a bunch of the other pairs that we've seen today. Not just GBP pairs, Euro pairs, CAD pairs. Those all coming towards the 800 on Fed day makes sense. And USD CHF looks very similar to Euro USD today, just sideways. No clear trend, market sentiment, sell zone into buy zone, now back into the sell zone, then back into the buy zone. So indecisive, just very indecisive. So don't force a trade on something that we can't find clear trend. And look at UJ. UJ is actually sell zone, tried to break into the buy zone, back in the sell zone, and this is trading down towards the 800 EMA right here. This is the 800. Now, this is marked up from the 1 hour entry we saw, and we called this out on the live stream a couple of days ago. This was on Monday. So from Monday's move, the most that it went up was about 40 pips, and it's pulling back towards the entry now. So today, using the 15-minute, which is the time frame that I'm always day trading off of, you can see how choppy all of the pairs on my watch list are today. And it really is because of the Fed news that we anticipate coming in at 2 o'clock today. So when we have high impact news events on the calendar, it's important that we don't try to step on the gas too hard. I think one of the big things that new traders get kind of stuck on is they think that the universe revolves around them. But the market doesn't care that you showed up to trade today. The market is more focused on the Fed news. And if pairs are consolidating and you don't have a way of reading that consolidation, you're going to get chopped around and wonder, why am I losing so much of my account? Why am I losing so much on these certain days? It's because of the news. It's that simple. You can't be certain that it's market manipulation. You can't be certain that they're grabbing stop losses. When people say things like that, it's never 100% certain unless they work at the broker and they're doing it themselves, which I doubt, right? So when people say those things, I just ignore them. Instead, I look at the facts. The facts are high impact news events create unnecessary volatility. And if CNBC and every mainstream article is talking about the Fed, we know that these currency pairs, the bankers at the currency that are moving these currency pairs and moving these prices, they're all waiting to see what the Fed does as well. And if you believe in just natural market behavior, if supply and demand, buyers and sellers are your mindset, you just saw me go through the whole watch list where there is no clear sentiment. Buyers or sellers, it's not clear who's in control. And I think that just feeds into this idea that the news creates indecision in the market. So why force a trade when it's indecisive? Wait for clean trend. And now we're going to go into the 3 trades that I took this week. I'm going to explain to you Euro USD on Monday, the 2 trades yesterday on GBP AUD, and why they fit the bill for much more of a clean trend, so to speak.